The Sound of New Heaven, Part 1. The Studio Awakens. The doors of the heavenly studio closed behind them with a soft, resonant click, and the moment they did, the room itself seemed to take a breath. The lights above warmed instantly, shifting from a plain, functional white into something closer to candlelight, gold and amber, flickering gently though nothing was actually burning. Along the far wall, a row of instruments stood waiting, and as the five of them stepped further inside, the strings of an untouched guitar gave a soft, unprompted hum, as though eager to be played. "Okay," Blake said, eyes wide, turning in a slow circle to take it all in. "Either this studio is alive, or I need to lie down somewhere quiet for a while." "It's not alive," Karen said, laughing softly. "I think it's just listening." "Same thing, honestly," Blake said, poking a drum set experimentally. It let out a warm, welcoming thump, as if agreeing with him. D.A. moved toward the center of the room, spreading his arms wide, taking in the whole space with a slow, satisfied nod. "This is it," he said. "This is exactly the room I've been imagining my whole existence." "Let's not waste it then," Chio said, already lifting his guitar from its stand, settling the strap over his shoulder like it belonged there. They didn't discuss where to begin. They simply began. Aman opened his mouth first, and the melody that came out of him arrived not from thought, but from somewhere deeper, smooth, warm, unhurried. The kind of sound that filled a room the way sunlight fills a window. Karen's voice rose beside his, almost instantly soft and layered, harmonies weaving beneath his lead, like threads catching light. Blake, without any warning at all, dropped into a rhythm on the nearest surface, the edge of a table, his own knees, a small metal case that happened to be sitting nearby. And somehow, impossibly, every strange alien beat he produced landed, exactly, where the song needed it. He looked as surprised as anyone. "I don't even know what I'm doing," he said between beats, grinning. "It's just happening." "Don't stop it happening," D.A. said, already nodding along, already feeling the shape of his own verse forming somewhere behind his ribs. Chio's guitar came in next, gritty and warm, a low growl of sound beneath the sweetness of Aman and Karen's vocals, and his own voice joined it a moment later, rougher, rawer, a perfect contrast that somehow completed the whole rather than fighting it. And then D.A. stepped forward, and the rap verse that came out of him arrived whole and unbroken, tying every thread of sound in the room together into something none of them could have built alone. The air itself seemed to thicken as they played, not heavy but full, the particular fullness of a room where something greater than 5 voices was clearly, unmistakably present. None of them spoke of it directly. None of them needed to. They simply felt it, the way one feels warmth from a fire without needing to be told the fire is burning. The studio recorded everything on its own, lights along one wall pulsing gently in time with the music, and when at last the song settled into its final, quiet note, all 5 of them stood still for a long moment, breathless, none of them quite ready to be the first to speak. "Play it back," Aman said finally. The room obliged, and the song rose again around them, and this time, hearing it whole, all 5 of them understood exactly what they had made. "That's not just a song," Karen whispered, tears bright in her eyes. "No," Chio agreed quietly. "That's worship." "That's testimony," Aman added. Blake, uncharacteristically without a joke ready, simply nodded, his large eyes shining. "That's us," he said. "That's actually, finally, completely us." D.A. looked around at all of them, something fierce and joyful moving across his face. "We're not sitting on this," he said. "We're performing this tonight." Aman didn't hesitate for even a second. "Tonight," he agreed. Part 2. The Walk to New Jerusalem. They stepped back out of the studio into the golden light of the new heaven, the song still humming faintly in all of them, the way a good meal leaves warmth behind long after the last bite. Their wings caught the light as they walked, and their halos glowed soft and steady above them, and none of them felt even a flicker of nerves. Only the bright, bubbling anticipation of 5 people who knew, without needing to say it aloud, that something wonderful was coming. Blake, unable to sit still for even a moment, kept up his percussion the entire walk, tapping rhythms against his own arms, against a low stone wall they passed, against absolutely nothing at all, simply drumming his fingers together in the open air. "You're going to wear your hands out before we even get there," Karen teased, squeezing Aman's hand as they walked. "Impossible," Blake said with total confidence. "I am an alien. My hands do not tire. They simply contemplate rest and then decide against it." "That's not how hands work," Chio said, laughing, his guitar carried easily across his back, like it had always belonged there. "That's exactly how my hands work," Blake said, entirely unbothered, and gave the stone wall one final triumphant tap for emphasis. Dia walked slightly ahead of the group, murmuring to himself, sketching invisible stage layouts in the air with his hands, where he'd stand, where Chio's guitar riffs would need room to breathe, where Blake's percussion corner would go so the whole crowd could see him working his particular, chaotic magic. "You've already got the whole show planned, don't you?" Aman said, amused, catching up beside him. "Man, I've had this show planned since before I knew you'd be in it," D.A. admitted, grinning. "I just didn't know it'd be this good." Ahead of them, the golden gates of New Jerusalem rose into view, tall and gleaming, standing open the way they always stood open, for anyone, at any hour, without exception. As the five of them approached, the gates seemed to catch the light a little brighter, as though the city itself had heard what was coming and wanted to be ready for it. Part 3. The first concert. The stage stood ready at the centre of New Jerusalem, simple and radiant, golden light pooling around it like water gathering before a fountain. And the crowd stretched further than any of them could properly measure. Millions of citizens gathered together in perfect, easy peace. No pushing, no shouting to be heard, just a vast, warm sea of faces, patient and joyful, waiting. Near the front, their family had gathered Renada standing close beside Mary, Cassandra with her hands already pressed to her chest, Amin and Princess and Rashim side by side, Prince trying and failing to look anything less than deeply proud, Chihiro and Noriko leaning in close together, all of them smiling up at the empty stage, with the particular warmth reserved only for family. None of them would perform tonight. Tonight belonged to the five. The lights rose. Aman stepped forward first, Karen just beside him, and the opening notes of the song they'd built only hours earlier rolled out over the golden crowd. Warm, aching, beautiful, the psalm melody that had first arrived in the studio like a gift, neither of them had gone looking for. Blake's rhythm came in next, strange and perfect, his whole body moving with the beat, tapping surfaces that weren't even really there, pure, joyful motion-given sound. Chio's guitar tore through the middle of it all, raw and alive, his voice rising rough and real beneath Ammon and Karen's harmonies. And then D.A. stepped forward and his verse rolled out over the whole crowd with an authority that felt, unmistakably, like it had been given to him, rather than simply written by him. The golden streets themselves seemed to brighten as the song built, light gathering along every rooftop and archway, the great gates behind the crowd shimmering gently in time with the rhythm, as though all of New Jerusalem had decided, quietly, to join in. In the crowd, Cassandra was crying, not from grief this time, but from something lighter, something healed, watching her brother stand whole and radiant on a stage that had been built, in some very real way, because she had once found the courage to ask for exactly this kind of miracle. Blake, mid-performance, caught sight of the crowd's reaction and, unable to help himself, even now, shot them all an exaggerated wink between drum hits, prompting a wave of delighted laughter to ripple through the front rows, even as the song carried on around it. Karen glowed, her voice steady and sure, joy radiating off her like warmth off sunlit stone. Chio felt, for the first time in longer than he could measure, completely and entirely alive, every note of his guitar an extension of something he'd carried quietly for years, finally given a place to land. D.A. felt the particular fullness of a dream, finally, truly arriving. Not just planned, not just imagined, but real. Happening. Right now. In front of him. And Aman felt whole. Not repaired, not reassembled, but simply, completely whole, standing beside his wife, his brother, his cousin, and his newest friend, singing a song that had not existed that morning and would now exist forever. The final note rose and held, high and bright and full. And for a moment the entire city seemed to hold its breath along with it. Then it broke, not into silence, but into praise. The whole vast crowd rose as one, voices lifting together, not toward the stage, not toward the five who had just poured their hearts into every note, but upward, toward the light beyond the light, toward the one who had made the whole impossible reunion possible in the first place. Aman turned slowly, looking at Karen, at Blake, at Chio, at D.A., all of them breathless, all of them glowing, all of them exactly where they were always meant to be. "This is only the beginning," Aman said, and beneath a sky that never needed to end in a city built for exactly this kind of joy, no one doubted him for a second.